On my 80th birthday, my husband and adopted daughter actually pushed me onto the rooftop. All because more than 60 years ago, a poor student I had sponsored asked me for money to buy milk powder, and I refused. I advised her to have an abortion, but she chose to keep the child. In the end, she had no money for the hospital and died in a rented room. My husband held a grudge against me. "It's all your fault for ruining Lilith. If you had given her the money, I would have married her by now. But it's okay, the adopted daughter you took in is the child of Lilith and me. After you die, all the money will belong to her. Good thing you didn't want to have children, serves you right." It was only then that I realized the tuition and living expenses I had paid for my husband's college were used by him to support the child Lilith gave birth to. If I get a second chance at life and want to have children, fine. Let's see if you can even scrape together money for the baby formula. Before my 80th birthday, I always thought I was very lucky in this life. Born into wealth, loved by my parents, and an only child. I smoothly took over the family business when I grew up. My love life was stable as well. I married a man my family had supported since childhood. Our marriage was happy, and my husband accepted my decision not to have children. We adopted a well-behaved and adorable girl. When she grew up, she attended a prestigious university and, under my arrangement, joined the company. I lived a life free of illness and disaster until my 70s, when I became unable to walk and had to use a wheelchair. But unexpectedly, on my 80th birthday, my adopted daughter conspired with my husband to push me onto the rooftop. They told me it was all for the sake of the impoverished students I had supported many years ago. "If it weren't for you, I would have been with Lilith a long time ago. You're clearly so rich, why can't you just give some money to Lilith to support her pregnancy and have the baby? If you had given money, Lilith wouldn't have dropped out and died in that rented room. I've endured so many years just for this moment. I want you to truly feel the pain Lilith went through back then." The adopted daughter chimed in beside me. I couldn't believe it and questioned her. "Luna, how can you treat me like this? I've been so good to you all these years, even handed the company over to you, and this is how you repay me?" The daughter I raised with so much effort now looked at me with eyes full of hatred. "You're not my mother at all. It's all your fault for not giving my mom money. If it weren't for you, my real mom would still be fine. Do I still have to recognize you as my mother? You deserve all of this." I couldn't believe she would say something like that. My husband sneered at me. "Surprised? Luna is the daughter of Lilith and me. After Lilith died, I raised her all by myself. Thanks to you not wanting children, I had every reason to bring her home openly and proudly. Let me tell you, you deserve this. From now on, all the assets of your family will be inherited by Lilith and me through our daughter. This is the retribution for your unwillingness to give money and your ruthless greed." Only then did I remember that the day before yesterday, my husband coaxed me into making a will, leaving all my assets to my daughter after I die. I originally thought that since I was getting old, to prevent relatives from interfering with my adopted daughter after my death, I would do as he wished. I never expected that today they would turn on me. In the end, my husband and adopted daughter pushed me off the rooftop. Reborn, they won't get a single penny from me. I want to see if the two of them can even scrape together enough money for the child's milk. I glanced at the time. I had been reborn back to the first semester of my senior year in high school. Before me was a classroom long unfamiliar, and during the break, I stepped out to make a call. I told my parents to stop the financial support for Damien and Lilith. In my previous life, I was already 80 years old, but coming back felt like I only gained an extra stretch of memory. My personality and temper still resembled my younger self, perhaps influenced by my body. My parents sounded a bit worried after hearing me, asking if I was being bullied at school, and told me to speak up if I was, not to endure it alone. Listening to their voices, my anger only grew stronger. In my past life, I had misjudged people, allowing my parents to be humiliated even after their deaths. "It's okay, Mom and Dad. I'll handle it myself. Just remember to stop their financial support, both of them." My parents didn't ask any further and agreed. Later that afternoon, a friend called out to me at the door. "Serena, someone's looking for you outside." I went out and sure enough, it was Lilith. She was wearing her school uniform, which barely concealed her slightly rounded belly. She glanced around at the people nearby, then whispered to me, "Serena, I need to talk to you. Can we go somewhere private?" Her eyes were brimming with tears, as if I had wronged her. The people around us couldn't help but look over. In my past life, I agreed to her request and found a place where no one was around. But when she dropped out of school, rumors spread that I had bullied a classmate, causing Lilith to leave school. Although my classmates didn't believe it, my reputation at school took a hit. At the time, I was too lazy to explain, but later it was dug up as a black mark, used by business rivals to attack me in the media, and I had to put in quite some effort to clear my name. "Sorry, I'm not going to talk to you." This time, I turned around, ready to return to my seat. "No, don't go, please." Lilith suddenly dropped to her knees, grabbing my clothes, tears streaming down her face instantly. "Someone, help. I'm being morally blackmailed." Oh my God, even in high school people are pulling scams like this? I didn't do anything. "Hurry, go get a teacher, someone's trying to frame me." Since Lilith didn't want anyone to know, I was determined to make a scene. I shouted loudly, drawing a crowd. Soon, a bunch of people gathered around us. Our classmates also stepped forward to speak up for me. "Lilith, Serena's family is wealthy, you don't have to act like this." Hearing the whispers around her, Lilith's face turned pale. I didn't, I just wanted to ask her for help." I took the opportunity to pull back the piece of clothing she was clutching and stepped back, wary of being extorted. She was pregnant after all, and if she miscarried, it wouldn't be my fault. "If you're not, then stand up. Who kneels when asking for help? I think you're trying to frame me." Lilith couldn't stand up. Tears welled in her eyes, looking so pitiful. "Since you want me to help, just say it." Lilith glanced around but couldn't speak. She just kept her head down, staring at the ground. After a while, some mischievous voices called out, "Speak up, are you pretending to be mute?" "Yeah, what's something you can't say in public?" I shouted to the people around me. "Hurry up and shut up. If you keep talking, she's going to end up kneeling to you all. Then we'll all be accused of collective bullying. Watching the show and getting yourself involved." The crowd fell silent, but the impression of Lilith's moral coercion lingered. I saw that after a while she still didn't respond, so I was about to leave. Suddenly, she shouted, Can you give me some money?" "Borrow money? Why?" "I can't say, just give me a few $100,000. As soon as she said this, everyone around gasped. "A few $100,000? Lilith really dares to dream." I answered decisively, "No." "Why?" "A few $100,000 is just a month's pocket money for you, so why can't you lend it to me?" I do have money, but why should I give it to you for no reason?" Lilith clutched her clothes, looking like a pitiful little white flower. "If you don't give me money, I won't take the college entrance exam. Then all the money you gave me before would have been wasted." I laughed. In my past life, Lilith threatened me the same way. But my support was out of kindness. Whether she took the exam or not was none of my business, and even if she passed, it wouldn't benefit me in the slightest. Of course, I refused and cut off her funding. Since she didn't need it, I gave it to someone who did. At least they wouldn't get pregnant before marriage and ruin their own future. After hearing Lilith's words, everyone around thought she was out of her mind. My friend glanced at me, a mocking smile playing on his face. "How could you support an idiot like her?" Lilith seemed angry and scolded me, "How can you insult me like this? It's just a bit of money, who cares about your money?" "Fine, then I'll cut off your funding. Since you despise it, I'll give it to others who need help." "No, how can you do that? That's my money." I smiled and grabbed my friend's arm. "What if I say I treat the living expenses I give her as a scholarship?" My friend thought for a moment, then count me in. Our school is a very good private school, with many children of wealthy families studying here, but of course, it also admits some poor students with good academic performance. My parents had taught me before to have empathy and to do more charity work. So I used my pocket money to support dozens of students. Most people at school knew about this, and sometimes those I helped would come to me when they were in trouble. I was happy to give money. But when there are many people, you encounter all kinds of characters. Lilith completely treats me like an ATM, even asking me to pay for her pregnancy expenses. No way. Lilith grew anxious. No, you're bullying me. That money is mine. How can you give it to someone else? I didn't care. She stomped her foot in anger. I looked at her and smiled, asking, all right, since that's the case, stop making a fuss for now. Tell me why you need the money, and I'll consider it. She quieted down, her eyes darting around as if she had been deeply wronged. Finally, as if she had made up her mind, she spoke. Because I'm pregnant. I need money to raise the child. I don't want too much, just a few $100,000, enough for me to give birth. I'll be grateful to you. The people around took a deep breath, staring in shock at Lilith's belly. A friend patted me on the shoulder. You really don't pick who you support. You might as well give the money to me. At least I wouldn't get someone pregnant and then have them come to you for support. I told you, just give me the money quickly. Lilith looked at the noisy crowd, wanting to leave but still hadn't gotten the money, and hurriedly said. Is that so? I also said I'll think about it, and after thinking, the answer is no. Lilith glared at me, angrily asking, I already told you, why won't you give it? I'm pregnant and need money. If you don't give me money, how is a girl supposed to raise a child on her own? I was almost laughing with anger. She really was so self-righteous. If you're pregnant, don't blame me. It's not like I got you pregnant. Why come to me instead of looking for the baby's father? In my past life, I urged her to have an abortion, but she stubbornly refused, saying this was the fruit of love between her and her boyfriend. Her family disagreed too, but she would rather drop out of school than terminate the pregnancy. She even went to live alone in a rented room. In the end, to save money, she avoided going to the hospital, and she died. Her child became my adopted daughter. This time around, I won't raise her child for her again. You're too much. How can you humiliate me like this? You're just jealous of me and don't want to help. A friend snapped at me, Lilith, if you're crazy, go get help. You don't even have money to raise a child, so why have one? Are you planning to feed it air? You're sick. Yeah, and what's there to envy? Envy you for getting pregnant unmarried in high school, with the child's father shirking responsibility, and then having to beg sponsors for money to raise the kid? Lilith heard these words but still refused to leave. Just then, Damien arrived. He grabbed Lilith's hand, as if casting himself as a hero standing between her and them, looking at me like I was the enemy. From the look in his eyes, I knew Damien had been reborn too. Serena, how can you be so vicious? Lilith is just a weak woman, surrounded and bullied by all of you. This is too much. What you're doing is bullying, don't you have a conscience? The onlookers around were no longer willing to just watch the spectacle. They didn't want to be labeled as bullies for merely observing. Are you crazy? She got pregnant before marriage and then asked Serena for money. And now she's putting on this pitiful act, making it seem like we're the ones bullying her. Yeah, don't you have eyes and ears? I'm telling you, she's the one morally blackmailing everyone. Did you hear that? She's the one doing the moral blackmailing. I'm just here for the show, haven't done a thing. You're accusing without knowing anything. You're so protective, could you be the father of the child? Damien's face darkened. When had anyone ever spoken to him like that? Hearing those words, he grabbed Lilith's hand. Yes, I am the father of the child. Serena, you better get me the money quickly, or don't blame me for being harsh with you. Come on, what, you still want to snatch money? Let me tell you, my heart belongs only to Lilith. Don't even think I like you. Are you crazy? When did I ever like you? And why are you asking me for money, begging or what? If you have so much pride, support yourself. Aren't you the father of the child? Why aren't you giving money? Damien was stunned, then shouted again, I don't need your money, I can take care of those two mother and daughter myself. Fine, don't worry, I've cut off your funding too. He was taken aback. Having lived a life of comfort for years, he had long forgotten that his living and tuition expenses since elementary school were all funded by me. Even the money for raising his child in college was diverted from the living expenses I provided. This money was deposited into his account on time every month, not only fully covering tuition and living costs but even leaving some surplus. Because of this, Damien never developed the habit of saving money. Now that the funds were gone, he was already worried about what he would eat next month. He thought about it, but glancing at Lilith behind him, he still put on a brave face and said, If you won't give me money, then fine. I'm a grown man, I don't need your money. Don't think that just because you have some money, everyone has to fawn over you. At worst, I'll work to support her and the child myself. Lilith, devoted, looked at Damien, and Damien looked back at her. I applauded, it was truly a touching scene. I wondered how long his so-called love could last under the daily grind of life's necessities. The teacher arrived and asked about the situation. He took Lilith and Damien away, then called their parents over. Lilith's parents slapped Damien several times on the spot and tried to drag Lilith to get an abortion, but Lilith refused stubbornly, even saying she would sever ties with her parents. Her parents were furious and said they would never care for her again. Damien's father had died when he was young, and only his mother had worked hard to raise him. He heard that his son had gotten a girl pregnant in high school, which made her so angry she fainted. She was already in poor health, and the shock was too much for her heart. After handling the funeral, Damien stormed into the classroom and yelled at me. Did you do this on purpose? It's all your fault my mom is gone. I'm telling you, I will never leave Lilith. My mom is dead, and you have to compensate me, at least 2 million. Not a penny less. Are you crazy? Wasn't it you who messed things up? Nonsense. If it weren't for you, how would my mom have found out? It's all because of you. I saw the teacher coming over and didn't want to argue with him, so I let the teacher take him away. He and Lilith felt like the whole world was against their love. They weren't wrong, the world was. They enjoyed the feeling of fighting the world for love. But it had nothing to do with me. If they wanted to hold on, let them. I asked my parents for a few bodyguards. Damien was given a demerit, and since both of them lost their sources of income, they had no choice but to find jobs. Lilith was weak and couldn't do heavy work, so Damien, unwilling to see her exhausted, worked himself to earn money. At first, Damien could barely manage to juggle both work and school. Later, as Lilith's pregnancy progressed, the doctor recommended she strengthen her body and not just eat plain vegetables. There were also various medical checkups, each costing several hundred. Gradually, the expenses related to Lilith's pregnancy far exceeded the wages from his part-time job. In the end, Damien dropped out of school and worked full-time to support Lilith and their child. He thought he could rely on his talents to find a high-paying job, or use memories from his past life to invest and make money. But he forgot that now he was just an underage without a diploma, and no legitimate company would hire him. He wanted to invest in promising companies for the future, but found that he had no capital and no connections. What could he possibly invest with? With no other choice, he could only do some manual labor to earn a bit of money. He hoped to save up some funds and then make a comeback, making me pay the price. A few days before the college entrance exam, Lilith went into labor. This time Damien was prepared in advance and went to the hospital. Both mother and daughter were safe. As a result, Lilith missed the exam. After the baby was born, expenses increased even more: formula, diapers, each one an unavoidable cost. In his past life, Damien hired someone to take care of the child. This time, with no money, they had to manage on their own. Damien had to go to work, leaving all the childcare duties entirely to Lilith. Lilith was just a high school student, and no one had taught her how to be a mother. She had to figure it out on her own, and when the baby cried in the middle of the night, none of them got a good night's sleep. The baby needed feeding and diaper changes every little while. There was no moment to rest, and she couldn't get proper rest at all. With no one to care for her during her confinement period, Lilith went home early to save on medical expenses. Her body never fully recovered, leaving her with lingering ailments. She leaked milk and urine, and sitting caused her back pain. When she learned how to care for the baby online, she couldn't help but see how other pregnant women lived. They had parents and partners by their side, unlike her, all alone. Facing a life of poverty, she even had to ration the baby's diapers carefully. A friend called. "Lilith, I finally have my own phone. How have you been lately? I want to tell you I got into university, and it's an undergraduate program. My mom finally agreed to buy me a phone and even gave me a few thousand to go on a trip and have a good rest. That's why I'm only reaching out now. Do you want to come along? By the way, your grades are so good. What university did you get into? I heard your school has an event where the top 10 students get all their university tuition covered, plus a cash bonus. Aren't you always among the top few? I really envy you. You don't have to spend your own money at all." Lilith couldn't come up with a response in a single sentence and could only hang up the phone amid her friends' questions. Her old friends had just finished their college entrance exams, were enjoying their holidays, and looking forward to university life. Meanwhile, she hadn't even taken the exam. It seemed like everyone else was happy and fulfilled, while she was trapped in a painful life with no future. She began to regret whether having this child had been the right choice. Faced with the noisy child, she no longer found him cute but gradually grew annoyed. It was this child who ruined her, otherwise, she should be happily preparing for college like her peers. She had been in the top 10 of her grade. If it were her, she would definitely have gotten into a good university and found a good job in the future. She began to fantasize, if she didn't have this child, if she hadn't met Damien, if she were still studying. But life must go on, and poverty inevitably brings friction. Lilith and Damien had a fight because Damien thought Lilith was spending money recklessly without saving. "I'm working hard outside to earn money, and you just waste it like this. Don't you already have clothes? Why do you need to buy new ones?" Lilith retorted after hearing this. "What do you mean? I just bought one piece of clothing, and I haven't bought any for months. Besides, my body changed after having the baby, and I couldn't fit into my old clothes at all. That's why I bought it. Not fitting into your clothes is just an excuse." Lilith was angry when she heard him say that. "You're only treating me like this because you've seen me have a baby. It wasn't like this before. You clearly promised me you would treat me well. I gave up the college entrance exam for you. If it weren't for you, I should be preparing to go to university now." Damien grew even angrier upon hearing this. His grades were good too, and with memories from his past life, he felt that Lilith was the one who owed him. After all, he wasn't the only one making sacrifices. He had given up being with me, given up a prestigious university, given up former wealth and glory. Thinking of this, his anger boiled over. "Yes, I did it on purpose. If you don't want to stay, you can leave, but where else can you go? Your parents have long since abandoned you, you have no money, so if you've got the guts, then leave. Anyway, you won't last a day before you have to crawl back." Lilith couldn't believe the person she loved could show such a face. She cried as she returned to her bedroom, closed the door, and pressed her hands tightly over her ears. She didn't want to hear the children crying outside or the sound of Damien throwing things. Lilith still stayed. She discussed with Damien her plan to repeat a year of school, but Damien was unwilling. He said if she repeated the year, who would take care of the children? In the end, Lilith didn't go. In a life filled with pain and no one to understand her, Lilith developed a gambling habit. At first, it was just playing mahjong to pass the time, but later, through a friend's introduction, she got involved in gambling. She secretly took money behind Damien's back to play. At first, she lost, thinking she would play one more round and then stop, but she won. From then on, she couldn't stop, she became increasingly addicted. Day by day, the love between the two of them wore away, and arguing became a daily routine. Luna, in this life, is called Elena. As she wished, she lived a life raised by her biological mother. But her mother didn't like her, nor did she want to take care of her. Feeding her was done according to her mother's own whims. Thanks to the memories from her previous life, and Damien's care, she managed to survive. Lilith didn't understand why Damien was so good to Elena, but she didn't care. As long as Damien brought money home to support her gambling, that was enough. All the money Damien brought home was treated by her as gambling funds, hardly any was spent on Elena. Damien had long wanted to abandon Lilith and then begged me to forgive him so he could continue being my prince consort. But Damien was still scheming, thinking that since I had no children, I would adopt Elena and let her inherit the company. He believed that for the sake of the child, I would forgive him, and all the wealth and glory would still be his afterward. However, Elena was initially unwilling to go with him to find me, leaving him no choice but to keep persuading her. No matter what Damien said, Elena was determined to stay by Lilith's side. Elena retained memories from her past life. Because Lilith died early giving birth to her, and with Damien's influence on her upbringing, she continuously idealized Lilith's image as a mother in her mind. She believed that all my efforts could never compare to Lilith. I was only after an heir, Lilith was the one who truly loved her. If Lilith were alive, she would treat her better, she would have a gentler, more loving mother. So at the beginning of her life, she still wanted to be close to Lilith, unwilling to leave. She had high hopes for Lilith. But Lilith's actions completely shattered her illusions. Not only did she fail to take good care of her, but when she lost at gambling, she beat and scolded her. "It's all because of you that I've ended up like this. If it weren't for you, I'd be a top student, not gambling for money. Why don't you just die already?" Elena was just a child, forced to silently endure the abuse. She still held on to hope, thinking it was something she did wrong. If only she tried harder, her mother would get better, would see her love. Then she would come to like her, treat her well. But no, even though Elena behaved obediently, Lilith still found her a nuisance. Once, when Elena had a fever and wanted Lilith to buy medicine for her, Lilith refused. She was in a hurry to go gamble and didn't bother with Elena. "Mom, please, I'm so hot and uncomfortable." "Get lost, you're just pretending. What's a fever? Just tough it out and it'll pass." In the end, it was Damien who came back to save Elena. Later, when Elena was about to start elementary school, she asked Lilith for money for books. Lilith refused, and Damien got a little angry. "I give you so much money every month, where do you spend it?" "What's so much money? You barely earn anything. You should see how much the man next door brings home." No means no. Damien got angry and was about to hit Lilith, but Elena stopped him. "Dad, don't hit Mom. I can pick up trash and earn money myself." In the end, the family parted on bad terms. Elena spent every day outside picking up trash to save money for books. Later, when she finally saved enough, Lilith snatched it away. "Mom, that's the money I saved to buy books for school, it's meant for the teacher." "What book money? Your money is my money. Can't you study without books?" "I didn't have money for books back then either, but I borrowed from classmates and still did pretty well." "Get lost, don't pull me. I'm in a good mood and won't hit you, so don't push me to." Elena had no choice but to watch Lilith leave. She felt a bit regretful, but unwilling to accept the truth, she could only tell herself it was all her fault. It was because she refused to give money that her mother didn't love her. Lilith's gambling debts kept growing, and eventually, she even lost the family house. Realizing the truth could no longer be hidden, she panicked and grabbed the only valuable thing left in the house, preparing to run away. "Mom, what are you doing?" "Get lost. If I don't leave now, it'll be too late, they'll kill me." "Mom, don't you want me anymore?" "Want you? My whole life has been ruined because of you, so why the hell would I want you?" Elena watched Lilith run away with her own eyes. She called Damien to come back. Later, a group of debt collectors showed up and kicked both of them out. After the college entrance exam, I took the money I had originally planned to give to Lilith and Damien as support, my pocket money, and the rewards from my parents, and donated it all as scholarships to students with excellent grades. Several of my friends heard about this and also voluntarily donated a good amount of money. The school held an event because of this. Later, I went to university, and after graduating, I took over the family company just like in my previous life. With the experience from that life, I did even better, and the company flourished. One day, my assistant told me that a man had come downstairs with a child looking for me. I asked them to be brought up. It was Damien and Elena. Elena was dressed in tattered clothes, and due to malnutrition, she looked much thinner than others her age. Her face bore many wounds, and she walked with a limp. When she saw me, she said very unwillingly, "It's all your fault that my dad and mom are like this. They shouldn't be this way. They clearly learned from the last life's lessons, so why are they still unwilling to give out money?" Her expression didn't look like that of an innocent child. I thought my adopted daughter had returned. I smiled and said to her, "Isn't this what you wanted? I never interfered in this life." "Nonsense. If it weren't for you, how could mom stop loving dad and me? In the past life, she was willing to die for me. Dad also said mom loved him, that she was a gentle and beautiful girl. If she were alive, she would surely treat me kindly. But the mom now is just a worthless gambler. It's definitely because of you that she became like this." I found her expression amusing. Even if I was the one who got her into gambling, what can you do about it? Besides, why would she like you? You're the one who ruined her future. She, like you, keeps romanticizing things that never happened and surely thinks she'd be better off without you. So, you have every right to hate me, and she definitely hates you too. Elena's face went pale, and she lowered her head, holding back tears. Seeing us at such odds, Damien took Elena's hand. "Luna, apologize to your mother right now." "Serena, I was wrong. For the sake of the child, can you please forgive us?" Elena was unwilling to look at me, but on the surface, she still obediently apologized. "I'm sorry, Mom, I was wrong. Will you forgive me? I promise I'll take good care of you from now on." At this point, these two were still lost in wishful thinking. "You two really have something wrong with your brains. Why on earth would I accept your apology?" Damien, seeing my reaction, actually got a bit angry and said unhappily, "Serena, stop being difficult. If you don't give Elena the inheritance, who else do you plan to give it to? You're not having kids, so who else would marry you? And even if you go adopt someone else, the family fortune would still go to an outsider. So no matter who you give it to, Elena will always be the one who calls you mother. In your past life, you took care of her for so long, would you really let her suffer outside? So don't go too far. We've all apologized to you. As long as we remain the same as before, this time I'll definitely treat you well." Elena also looked up, glaring at me. "Yeah, if you keep this up, once I inherit the estate, I'll just throw you into a nursing home. You have no children of your own, you can only rely on me. From now on, everything you have belongs to me. If you treat me better now, I'll still remember your kindness." He was right, I really wasn't planning to have children, nor to adopt any more. But I smiled and said to the two ingrates in front of me, "Damien, I really don't intend to have children, nor do I plan to adopt again." Damien's eyes lit up when he heard me say that, a smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. I went on, "But ever since I was reborn, I asked my parents for one. My little brother and sister are already in kindergarten now. Our family's wealth doesn't need you to inherit it yet. You're really daydreaming, thinking too highly of yourselves." Damien jumped up at my words, panic flooding his face. "How is that possible? How could you do this? You have little siblings now, so what about Elena? What about me?" Elena started to panic too, her face showing fear. "Mom, how could you give away my money? I was wrong, I won't do it again, please don't abandon me." "You're lying to me, aren't you?" To shatter their illusions, I made a video call. As soon as it connected, a child's sweet voice came through. Sister, sister, when are you coming back? I miss you so much. Yes, I miss you too, even more than he does. No, I miss sister the most. The voices of the little brother and sister came through, and Damien and Elena were utterly despairing, their faces pale. I told the security guard to kick them both out. They still wanted to struggle, but were forcibly taken away. I informed the debt collectors of their location so they could take good care of the two of them. From then on, their lives would be spent constantly hiding from debts. Later, Damien couldn't bear it and did something foolish. Elena went mad, wandering the streets all day, calling everyone mom. I worked for a while, waiting for my younger brother and sister to grow up before stepping down and passing the torch. Then I began to enjoy my own life.